I'm Amy Jo Martin. Welcome to the Why Not Now show. You know that thing you've been thinking about doing? Yeah, that one. Why not now? Have you ever actually taken the time to ask yourself, what's stopping me? Let's talk it through. This is your chance to give that idea the attention it deserves and take action. Each episode, I have a chat with a fascinating person, from entrepreneurs to athletes, celebrities, my parents, rocket scientists, and all walks of life. We talk through a critical time when they've asked themselves, why not now? We dissect that day or even that moment, step by step. Many of you are familiar with Dave Grohl, the wildly talented musician from the Foo Fighters. Well, today we have his mom, Virginia Grohl, on the show. She recently wrote a book called From Cradle to Stage that includes the stories of 18 moms of rock stars, like Dave Matthews, Zac Brown, Amy Winehouse, Pharrell Williams, Adam Levine, Mike D, the Beastie Boys, Kelly Clarkson, and the list goes on. Virginia went out and spoke with these rock moms, and what she uncovered is fascinating. In this episode, Virginia tells us what Dave Grohl was like as a child and the challenges that can come with having a highly creative and energetic child. Virginia, who's a retired school teacher, shares her thoughts about our education system and also what parents can do when they have a child with explosive energy on their hands. You'll find that Virginia is a kick. She's been known to travel on the tour bus with the rockstars and even crack a beer with them backstage after the show. She's seen and done a great deal, and she's not stopping. Before we get started, I want to tell you about my partners at Design Pickle. You know when you're in a pickle because you need a design, but you don't have the time or maybe even the skill to do it yourself. Many of us have been there. Design Pickle has been a lifesaver for me. Here's how they're set up. You pay a flat rate monthly fee, and you're given a dedicated designer for all of your needs. You heard that right. Unlimited graphic designs, unlimited requests, and the first 14 days are risk-free. You get a full refund if you cancel in the first 2 weeks. Why Not Now listeners like yourself get 30% off their first month. You can go to designpickle.com/why not now to redeem the offer. For me, the process has been painless and ego-free. In fact, many of the posts you're seeing on my social media channels were created by my buddies at Design Pickle, specifically Jacob at Design Pickle. That's what's cool, is that you get a dedicated designer. I'm on a first-name basis with my designer. A mentor once said to me, just because you can doesn't always mean you should. Do what you're uniquely qualified to do. Design Pickle helps me do just that. Go to designpickle.com/why not now to redeem the offer. We tackle the most taboo topics on the Why Not Now show. Oftentimes, you're hearing guests share things they've never shared before. In the spirit of things we don't typically talk about, you should know that the Why Not Now show is supported by Poo-Pourri. Yep, the original before you go toilet spray. It's magic. My friends at Poo-Pourri have literally taken the smell out of you-know-what. This pure blend of essential oils stops bathroom odor before it begins. Visit poopourri.com, and Why Not Now listeners get 20% off with code WHYNOTNOW. That's all one word. Also, you can now get Poo-Pourri at Target. Virginia, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I am as well. And as things go around here, we hop right in Why Not Now style. Let's get straight to the first question. Can you tell me about a time when you had a big decision to make and you said to yourself, why not now?
I can, as a matter of fact. And it has to do with the book that I published last year about mothers of rock stars. I'd been going to rock shows for years and years since my son started playing them before he was 20. And so first it was around the home area and little clubs. And first I was chaperoning them because all the kids in the bands were underage, and we would rent a community center and a couple moms would chaperone and they'd put on a big show. And so that's where it started. And then it went on for a couple of other bands he was in the D.C. area. And then he joined a fairly famous punk band called Scream. And they played in bigger clubs. And then, of course, that led to Nirvana, where there were huge arenas and big stages. So I'd been to hundreds of shows, sitting on the side of the stage in a little folding chair and loving every minute of it, just having the most fun. I was often joined by a friend who's the band's lawyer, actually, Jill Berliner, and we'd sit there together and enjoy our best seats in the house. So at one point I said to Jill, I've been doing this for all these years, and I never see any of the other mothers at stage side. At festivals when there are, 5 or 6 bands playing on the same stage, I watch for them, and I often go to listen to those bands as well. And it's just me. And Jill said, well, you should go find them. In fact, you should write a book. And that's where it started. And just then, with that word from my wise friend, Jill, we started making a list. And in fact, we said we would do this book together. And so we made a list, and she's a lawyer who specializes in musicians. So she knows a lot of people and could get in touch with people in certain ways that I couldn't. So we just started. We just generated a list and said, let's go. Let's do it now. And that was the beginning. And then I discovered what a great project. It was the most fun I've ever had. And I traveled and I met amazing women and who all said in the beginning, oh, there's nothing special about me. I don't have a story. And of course, they were all very wrong. And that was that.
I really love this. And so that question that Jill posed, she asked the question, what was the very next thing that happened in terms of when did it feel real? Or, that definitely was a why not now moment because something happened in you that gave this enough attention to actually follow through and do it. Did you start the list right then after she mentioned it?
Actually, as soon as we were off stage, we went back to the dressing room and we sat down with a glass of wine and said, okay, who do you want to talk to? And we just generated a list. And knowing that we would get turned down or that we couldn't, not everybody could be scheduled and all of that. But we really didn't consider that anything would throw us off too much. We just said, there are thousands of them out there, and who are the ones we really want to meet and talk to and want to hear the stories of and want to know what the relationships were like. So we just started a list. And, of course, we did get turned down for various reasons. And I wanted, after we'd been thinking about it a bit, I decided I wanted to represent as many women as I could in the music business, and we got turned down by them often. I think I understand that, but I'm sorry that I couldn't get more of them. I love the ones that I got. But, yeah, we just started with a list, and then we made appointments with, Jill was with me on the first 3 interviews, and we traveled to Toronto, and one of them was right outside LA, and then Dave Matthews' mom was in Virginia. And so Jill and I did those 3 together. Then it became apparent to her that she could not be the powerhouse lawyer that she was and devote time and energy to the book project. So she dropped it at that point and just became my good support system. But that was how we started. We just got going, and as soon as somebody agreed to see us, we made the reservations or plans or whatever, and went in and sat down at their kitchen tables and started talking. So that was how it started. I got better at it as I went along. Jill taught me a lot in those 3 sessions. She taught me to not talk so much, but to listen more. And she had good ideas for specific questions. I tried to not go in with a lot of questions rehearsed and thought through. I wanted it to just develop as a conversation. That worked best for me.
What I love about this too is that it's almost like Jill was the instigator of posing the question, but then a great accountability partner, even though maybe in the beginning you thought you were truly partnered up on the project, but such a role in making things probably progress, because I know when I'm doing something with someone else, or even if they're aware of what I said I would do, I am more likely to follow through. So had you been sitting in the folding chair next to stage and just thought of this, it may have come and gone, but immediately taken action and going and sitting down.
It would have been much more difficult without her in the beginning. And then the other thing was, and this is something that not too many people maybe that are listening have thought of yet, but as I said, I was approaching 80, and I got to a point where I realized that, I mean, when I first thought of it, I thought, well, if I could see 12 mothers, 1 a month, do the traveling and visiting, have 3 weeks to write and edit, then I could have this done in a year. Well, that was most unrealistic because scheduling was never that automatically easy. And so it was taking longer and longer, just the process. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I sat down and wrote a really long letter to Jill and said, I have to do it completely alone from now on because of I want to have it finished before my 80th birthday. And that was, that's such a deadline that I just thought it has. And she completely understood when your sense of mortality arrives at some point in your life. You look out at a calendar and see that you better do it now if it's going to get done. And I really wanted to finish it. I really wanted to have a book in my hand.
Congratulations, because that's...
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a self-inflicted deadline, but at the same time, I think that's a great point with birthdays for people to have certain, deadlines and give themselves finish lines too, and they're great ways to do that. So let's talk a little bit about the book. And I mean, you've sat down with the moms of Dave Matthews, Zac Brown, Amy Winehouse, Pharrell Williams, Adam Levine, Kelly Clarkson. I mean, all of these, the list goes on, these rock star moms. Can you share anything that you found that they have in common, whether it be with their relationship with their kids, with their actual rock star kids themselves, or maybe their own personality traits?
The thing I was most surprised by that they had in common was that the children, the sons and daughters, all committed to the idea of a lifetime in music at the amazingly early age of 12.
Oh, wow.
12 years old, and they were unstoppable. I mean, they were determined, passionate, clear that this is what they were going to do. And I mean, it's hard when you think about any other profession. No 12-year-olds know, I am for sure going to be the president of a bank. I'm going to be a dentist. It's very rare, but something about music takes hold really early. And there's a few of the moms. Geddy Lee's mom was one notable one. Really tried to fight against that. Most moms had to really try to manage that in those early, when they're 12, 13, junior high age, early high school, before they realized how strong that goal was. But that was something that was across the board. They all were overtaken early by the urge to play and entertain.
Such an early age. And that's probably going to be surprising to some listeners, but also what a great tip to know that as a parent, you can be looking at certain behaviors.
When your 12-year-old wants a guitar, you should start picturing yourself on the side of a stage. And it's fun. It's worth it. It's a great life. So I recommend it. But what that also led to as well, that led to a lot of us having to face the issue of school. Mm-hmm. And school was a problem in many cases, in different ways. But in the case of my son, he wanted to drop out of high school to go on tour with a band. And I thoroughly agreed with him that was a good plan. And none of my friends, and I was a teacher.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're an educator, English teacher, right?
And I was a teacher in the school where he and my daughter and I all set out every day to go into the same building. And so I knew all his teachers, I knew the school, I knew the system, and I knew that he wasn't thriving there and that he would in Europe on tour. And other parents had to face Michael Stipe's parents he notified them that he wanted to drop out of college, and his band was doing well. He wanted to start going on tour. And they accepted it instantly and said, of course, that's what you really want, and you can go back to college. So it was easy in those cases. Other cases weren't so easy. Mother and son or mother and daughter just made it through those years. And
can you share a little bit about what Dave was like as a child?
Sure. He was, have you ever seen one of his shows?
Yes, but it was at a festival, so it was kind of I felt like I was distracted with a lot of things going on, but yes.
Well, he was exactly the same as he is now. He was funny and super high energy and hard to keep up with. He just more fun to be with than anybody, always. So he was a really fun kid. He was devilish. I'm still finding out things as the years go by. Confessions are made. But he was just, he was not rebellious in a mean or nasty way. He was just very, I don't know, just high energy, unusual fun. He was good. He's a good person, and he was a good kid. So, in school, everybody liked him. He was popular with all the kids. Teachers liked him. They hated failing him, but they had to because he wasn't doing the work and he wasn't showing up. But when he did, they enjoyed him. So that's the kind of kid he was. He was just really a joyous little creature and fun to be in the car with. We always sang together in the car and played song games, and he was just really fun. He still is, by the way. He's just, he's just great to be around, whether you're just in a conversation or he's playing with his 3 little girls who adore him, of course, and or he's on stage. There's just a lot of fun going on. So
yeah, and I definitely have heard him interviewed many times and seen you interviewed together, and there's a lot of joy that radiates, and it's undeniable. And so this managing of school and the school issue, here you are, you're teaching at the same school where he wants to drop out, and he comes to you and says, I have this opportunity to go travel in Europe and tour, and you said, go, yes, and you encouraged him.
Yes, I did.
And look at Look at the net of this. This turned out very, very well.
It did, didn't it?
Did you just know in your being that was the right way to go? Because I'm sure, of course, all the outside pressures of, having.
Well, I think the fact that I had been in the school system and that I knew the system really well. And I don't know whether I put this in the book or not. We were in Fairfax County Public Schools. It's one of the largest systems in the country. And at one point early on, in the 70s, I guess, I was asked to be a part of a countywide committee, and they were just going to start the Gifted and Talented program. That's when they began that branching out and changing of curriculum. And I went to one meeting. When I went, I was thinking in terms of my own children and how creative and artistic both of them are, and how it had never yet been addressed by anything in school other than, little talent shows and things like that. So I went to the meeting, and I suppose there were a dozen of us from throughout this enormous county. And I knew after, I don't know, about the first hour that the Gifted and Talented program was not going to be for truly gifted and talented, artistic, creative, different kids. It was just going to be for kids who already were succeeding in school, and it might, push them in some different directions, but it was for kids who already knew how to succeed in school. And they had to have good grades to get into it. So it wasn't, I didn't go to any more meetings after that. I was aware that the system is not encouraged to deal with truly artistic kids. And as I said, they start blooming early. And so you could get some things going in elementary school. I talked about that with a lot of the mothers who had been through searching through schools to find one that would do that, address that kind of thing. And in LA, there's it's such a huge system too, and nobody could find anything that really was going to work. So it's still a problem we have, and somebody else is going to have to solve it. I don't have time now to work that through, but there's much work to be done.
Well, I think too, in writing this book, hopefully you've surfaced the question even more. So that's definitely a start. And what I really appreciated was at the end when you have a final section that says, "What's a mother to do?" And you wrote, your child is bouncing off the walls. He loves noise, his own or that produced of bands with terrifying names. He never slows down. He goes full speed all day. His teachers report that he can't sit still. His attention span can't be measured because it doesn't seem to exist. He's politely disruptive. In other words, he seems not so much determined to cause trouble as to be naturally chaotic. He should probably be evaluated by the school experts so he can be labeled as ADHD, learning disabled, or perhaps some new category placed and dealt with. And then you go on to kind of explain, and then you have some tips for anyone who's reading this that might feel like they're relating to that excerpt that I just read. And I thought the tips were so helpful and really gold for parents who might be feeling, the same way, which I'm sure there are many. We just haven't known what to do, right? And
when I hear from people who have read it, that's often what they want to talk about. And honestly, I wasn't sure I should put that chapter in. I didn't feel, when I started putting down the advice part, what's a mother to do, was always an open question. But then I didn't feel qualified to advise anybody. I just felt experienced. But that's the part of the book that resonated with so many parents. And they write to me about it and they comment on it. So I guess I'm glad I did. I'm still not sure I have any of the answers. Those are just my thoughts on a way you can think about it,
And yeah. I mean, in a way, you're the author of the book, and you've now sat down with many other mothers of wildly successful rock stars that are
Right.
highly artistic people. So, at some point, you have to become a voice of some authority because you have more data than just yourself as well. So, not only that, but you've lived it and seen it. So, do you mind sharing maybe one or two of these insights, whether it be you mentioned the explosive energy isn't likely to subside. So now what?
Yeah, I think, well, that's a thing that we become aware of very early. And I get one of the hard things about it is the way other people are judging it. Other people are watching the child and you to see what your response is going to be. It's not like seeing a kid have a temper tantrum in the grocery store or something, and where everyone's recoiling in horror of that aisle. But it's when you have family members who are grandmothers who are not able to take the energy level, and it's exhausting. So sometimes the energy can be channeled, and very often it's with a musical instrument. Sometimes it's with sports. Sometimes it's just with getting outside with a bike or friends. A lot of the kids who were, well, I don't know what a percentage would be, but there was a lot of athletic activity going on that I didn't report about. But a lot of the boys were also out on football, soccer fields, baseball diamonds, places like that, with that energy and so on.
Which makes sense. You're trying to
Sure.
get that energy out, totally.
And of course, parents always approve of that. That's always, society says that's a good way to channel that kind of thing. And but then, I guess it's just a matter of knowing that it's a permanent situation, first of all, and then just trying to find a way to allow it to happen in a positive way, and music always does that. I remember when I was talking to Josh Groban's mother, we talked about school a lot because she had been a teacher as well. She was an art teacher, and she's from LA, so she had tried to find schools in Los Angeles that would address what was clearly a very musical child. And she said that she thought he was such an early learner. He spoke early and was very language adept, and he started playing instruments while he was still in diapers. He was taking Japanese and loved it, and he was playing music and composing. But when he was in the classroom, the fact that he was looking out the window meant that he was lazy, and then he would come home, and that was typical of many of them too. They'd come home and just sit down and focus on whatever the music thing was at the moment, whether they were writing a song or practicing with a band or whatever. So all of those things, as soon as they were channeled into music, changed.
Yeah. It was neat to read. Dave Matthews' teachers had complained of his lack of interest and focus, but his mom, Val, invited him to sit down and paint with her. And then now looking at the fact that he designs his own album covers,
I know.
I keep thinking there's this incredible soul that I've done some learning from and has written a lot of books. His name is Dr. Gay Hendricks, and he's actually been on the show. And he has this kind of funny phrase where he says, don't go shopping for oranges in a Birkenstock store, right? It's like just such a mismatch. You know, we try to template and sometimes try so hard to put these templates and boundaries. I'm really glad you left that section in, Virginia. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you. That's nice to hear.
Absolutely. And changing gears for just a minute. So is there anything you've been thinking about doing that you want to do now in terms of a why not now?
You know, I'm pretty open to a lot of things right now. And I am actually considering some other things, but I can't really talk about them at the moment. And
fair enough.
But I'm not finished. I'm really I have more to do and to say, and more things. There's so many exciting things to involve oneself in that I think I'll keep looking around and doing that kind of thing.
Well, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you, if you're up for it. Okay. Sure. What keeps you up at night?
Oh, you mean besides MSNBC?
There you go.
I guess right now the future of the nation is what's concerning me and really does keep me awake and a little upset. I have 3 beautiful granddaughters, David's 3 girls. And I want them to have a more carefree life than it looks like they're going to have. You know, I just want things to work out better. I guess that's it. I'm not the only one.
You're not. You are not at all. And I agree. I definitely agree. And with the next question, a little lighter, pirates or ninjas, who's tougher and why?
Pirates or ninjas?
Yes. Which one is tougher, do you think?
Never having met one of either. I guess the one I would fear more would be. I guess I would fear pirates more.
Fair enough. And the final question: what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, don't wait till you're 70-something. Get some of the stuff that you fill notebooks with out there. And I guess that would be it. I've had a joyous life. I've met wonderful people. I've been great places. And when I was young, I was doing, I had fun with music as well. And I don't know. I guess I would just say about the writing, get to it earlier and get some things down and let somebody look at them. That's hard to do, by the way. I still don't like to do that. And then I think in the end it was, I wanted to have something that my family could have. A real book, not just all these torn pages and notebooks and legal pads that are fill closets and boxes, but a real book with a cover and pictures and organized thoughts and all of that. So, I mean, some people have 5 or 10 or 20 of those.
Right.
But I got one, so that's good.
Many people have none too, so it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
I love that though. Get some of the stuff you fill notebooks with out there. That's such a good takeaway. And I personally am hearing that, and it's helping me as we speak really commit to a why not now. So I'm
good.
Yes,
good.
I appreciate it and feel very grateful. And just for this time with you, Virginia, thank you for your time and for writing the book and sharing your wisdom.
Well, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun to talk to you.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the show. Hit me up on social media to let me know what you think. I'm at Amy Jo Martin on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I want to hear your Why Not Now moments so I can share them on the show. Just send me a note to whynotnow@amyjomartin.com. For show notes and other offers, you can visit amyjomartin.com/whynotnow. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email newsletter for exclusive content and announcements. A big thanks to Rock Salt Music for all of the tunes by the talented John Coggins. And of course, a hat tip to Richard Brewer for editing and producing the show. I'll see you next time. And until then, why not now?